Hello and welcome to Ukraine Today. I'm Volodymyr Suluhub. Join me now to discuss the terror attacks in Paris is French-Belarusian dispute resolution lawyer currently in Paris, Mr. Andrei Solin. Mr. Solin, welcome to Ukraine Today.
Good afternoon, Vladimir.
Mr. Solin, you're currently in Paris. Can you tell us where exactly are you now and what is happening around you?
So that's right, I'm in Paris and I'm in the district of Paris called Belleville, and it's about 10 minutes from the place called Bataclan, where was the biggest terror attack yesterday and where the largest number of people were killed. So it's about 10 minutes of walk and a couple of metro stations from there.
Yeah, Mr. Solin, can you tell us where were you yesterday at the time of the attacks?
It happened that I were in a bar about 7 or 8 minutes away from one of the places where the attack was. The place is called Casa Nostra, and it's around République. It's the square here in Paris. So I was 7 or 8 minutes from there, and I remember the moment how the people started calling my friends, and it was the feeling of shock, like how was it possible? And then all the events were unfolding, and the news that it was the attack, that people were killed. So first 10 people, then 18 people, then 20 people. And then multiple attacks started happening around us. One in Bataclan, one in this restaurant, one in the restaurant to the south from where we were. And I was very afraid. It was a very scary moment because we didn't know where the terrorists will strike next. And so what the staff of the place did, they barricaded us from the inside. So they shut the doors, they locked us there, and we were sitting, and they closed the curtains. So the place was dark, and no one could enter inside, and no one could leave from the place. And we spent there about half an hour until the staff realized that it was not safe, but it was more or less safe, and there was no threat to our life if we leave and go to the metro. But these 30 minutes were very scary, and in these 30 minutes, like, a lot of bad thoughts were coming into the head about what could happen to us, where the terrorists can come next, where they can strike next.
Yeah, look, some very scary stories indeed. Mr. Solin, do you remember how soon you realized that these were the terror attacks from the moment when you realized that something is wrong? And what was the reaction of yourself and people around you when you realized that these were the terror attacks?
I think it was clear right away from the news reports that it was the terror attack, because there were a couple of bombs exploding near Stade de France. Then there were hostages being taken in Bataclan. So it was clear that the terrorists were targeting common French people, and that everyone around could be their target. So the reaction of people around me was shock, because everyone could be the target, because our place where we were at that moment could equally be the target of the attack. And people started calling each other, and there were a lot of messages, a lot of calls, a lot of questions. How are you? Are you alive? Are you safe? And it happens that one of the friends of my girlfriend, who were as well in this bar, he was in Bataclan. And I learned today in the morning that he's in the list of people who were killed there. So the tension was enormous. And when we left the place, when we finally got to a safe flat in Paris, it was a huge feeling of relief.
Yeah, Mr. Solin, can you tell us how do the people on the streets of Paris feel themselves right now, not even 24 hours after the attacks?
I think the largest feeling is frustration, because Paris normally is very easygoing, very joyful place, and very easy. But now it's not the case today, and people do not know what to do. People do not know how to feel, because, let's say, there is no certainty that all the terrorists were caught or killed yesterday. So maybe they can be around, and maybe there will be some new attacks. And people asking these questions, and there is some feeling of unrest and uneasiness here. And a lot of people are not leaving their homes. A lot of places are shut down in Paris. somehow today there is no this usual Parisian joy in this city.
Yeah, looks like some very tense moments indeed. Mr. Solin, my final question, if we're talking in general about the people in France, because the President Hollande said that the ISIS, who is responsible for this attack, that this constitutes an act of war by ISIS on France. So what is the overall mood in the country about the fact that the country is at war?
I think that if you remember what happened after the Charlie Hebdo attack, when France showed enormous solidarity and enormous number of people went to the streets after the attack, I think it will be like that this time as well. I think that if there is this statement about the war, if there is the statement of Hollande that the response will be merciless to the terrorists, France will do that. And I think France will not tolerate what is happening to it now. And the people, now there is frustration, but it will be gone in a couple of days. And what will come instead of it will be the resolution to take care of the situation and to respond equally to the threat which was posed now to France. So I think that it feels that the people will be ready for some measures by the government against the ISIS, and will expect that there will be some retaliation by the government to the ISIS. That's how I perceive the situation. But for a couple of days, provisionally, there will be this feeling of frustration and not understanding what is happening around.
Yeah, looks like indeed very sad news coming out of Paris, out of France. Mr. Solin, many thanks for finding the time to talk to us. We really appreciate your input. This has been a discussion on the most recent attack in Paris, and from one of the lawyers who is currently in France, in Paris, talking to us. This was Mr. Andrei Solin, who is the French-Belarusian dispute resolution lawyer currently in Paris. I'm Volodymyr Solin. Thank you for watching Ukraine Today.